Good evening. This is the Usurper of Discernment. One of the most remarkable things about discernment is that it is rarely destroyed. More often, it is displaced. It is quietly usurped. Discernment is the faculty that distinguishes between what we know, what we infer, what we imagine, and what remains unknown. It is not merely intelligence, nor education, nor wit. One may possess all three and still lack discernment. Discernment is the discipline of seeing clearly before concluding. Yet there are forces within the human condition that seek to occupy its rightful place. The usurper does not announce itself as a usurper. It arrives disguised as certainty. It whispers, "You have seen enough. You already know. There is nothing more to understand." And with astonishing frequency, we believe it. The tragedy is not that we lack information. Never before have human beings possessed access to such staggering quantities of knowledge. The tragedy is that information alone does not produce wisdom. Information informs. Discernment transforms. The difference between the two is often measured by patience. Outrage is one of discernment's most persuasive usurpers. Outrage is not inherently evil. It has its place. There are moments when injustice should disturb us. There are circumstances in which moral clarity demands action. But outrage possesses a peculiar characteristic. It narrows vision. When we become consumed by outrage, our minds stop asking, "What is true?" Instead, they begin asking, "Who is guilty?" Notice how different those questions are. One seeks understanding, the other seeks resolution. Our nervous system prefers quick resolution. It relieves uncertainty. It offers the comforting sensation that reality has been simplified into heroes and villains, friends and enemies, right and wrong. Reality, however, rarely conforms to our appetite for simplicity. Discernment survives precisely because it resists this impulse. Fear may be an even subtler usurper. Fear evolved to keep us alive. It notices movement in the tall grass before it notices beauty in the sunrise. It prepares us for danger long before it prepares us for understanding. This makes fear extraordinarily useful for survival. It does not necessarily make it useful for wisdom. A frightened mind often mistakes possibility for certainty. It fills gaps in knowledge with assumptions. It confuses vigilance with accuracy. The unknown becomes unbearable, so the imagination rushes in to complete the picture. Discernment patiently leaves certain spaces unfinished. It is comfortable saying, "I do not yet know." Those may be among the wisest words a person ever learns. Tribal identity is another quiet usurper. Human beings long to belong. There is nothing inherently wrong with this. Communities sustain us. Traditions shape us. Shared values unite us. Yet belonging becomes dangerous when loyalty replaces curiosity. When preserving the identity of our group becomes more important than discovering what is true, discernment begins surrendering territory. The question subtly changes. Instead of asking, What does the evidence suggest? We begin asking, what is my side supposed to believe? Truth quietly exits the room. Consensus takes its place. Perhaps the most deceptive usurper is certainty itself, not confidence. Confidence can remain humble. Certainty often cannot. Confidence says, "This is my present understanding." Certainty says, "The conversation is over." Discernment thrives where conversation remains possible. Not endless indecision, not perpetual skepticism, but genuine openness. The willingness to discover that reality is larger than our present understanding. Every profound discovery in history required someone willing to admit that accepted conclusions might not be complete. Humility has often been the doorway through which truth entered. Speed also competes with discernment. Modern life rewards immediate reactions. We are encouraged to respond instantly, to judge instantly, to share instantly, to condemn instantly, to celebrate instantly. Yet understanding seldom travels at the speed of impulse. Nature itself unfolds patiently. Trees do not become forests overnight. Rivers carve stone over centuries. Trust develops through countless interactions. Likewise, understanding matures through sustained attention. Discernment is patient because reality is patient. One of the greatest misconceptions is that discernment belongs only to intellectuals. It does not. Some of history's wisest people possessed little formal education. Others accumulated degrees while remaining profoundly undiscerning. Discernment is less about intelligence than integrity. It requires intellectual honesty. It asks us to distinguish observation from interpretation, fact from narrative, evidence from emotion, knowledge from confidence. This distinction alone can transform entire conversations. Curiously, discernment is strengthened not by becoming more suspicious of others, but by becoming more aware of ourselves. Where am I rushing? What assumptions am I making? What emotions are coloring my perception? What outcome am I secretly hoping to prove? These questions require courage because they reveal that the first mind requiring examination is our own. Self-awareness is not the enemy of conviction, it is the steward of conviction. Without it, conviction hardens into dogma. With it, conviction remains alive, responsive, and capable of growth. The usurper of discernment is rarely one thing. Sometimes it is fear, sometimes outrage, sometimes pride, sometimes ideology, sometimes exhaustion, sometimes the deep human longing for certainty in a world that refuses to be simple. They all promise clarity, yet they often deliver only reduction. Discernment asks more of us. It asks us to bear uncertainty without immediately fleeing from it, to remain curious a little longer, to listen before concluding, to observe before declaring, to understand before condemning. This is slower work. It is also kinder work. And perhaps that is no coincidence. For genuine discernment does not merely sharpen the mind, it enlarges the heart. In the end, wisdom is not measured by how quickly we arrive at an answer. It is measured by whether we are willing to see clearly before deciding that we already had.